Hi, Dennis Weiss. Welcome to our town. We're at the Shockey and Landis building, downtown Abilene, with Jeff Dawson, my good friend from the National Cowboy Poetry Rodeo and other things. We have a live audience from the Dawson family in the background here, so we expect a lot of fun. And I'm pretty sure you're sitting in Wild Bill Hickok's chair.
Well, rumor has it that several of these old chairs came from the original tavern that Wild Bill hung out in. So,
never know.
Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, so glad you could come. But being here, that's all goes to you.
Yeah, and we're excited. The National Cowboy Poetry Rodeo this year, albeit fairly new to Abilene. This will be the 21st year of the National Cowboy Poetry Rodeo.
Terrific.
We're really proud of that.
21st.
So, yes.
So we made a program down at the old Abilene town. Gosh, seems like many months ago now, but it couldn't have been that long.
And how much fun was that?
That was a lot of fun. Trains went by and the whistles blew, and we just had a great day anyway.
Yep.
So chasing longhorns down the street.
Right downtown.
How much fun was that for you?
The hair stood up on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
Growing up here in Abilene, always just dreaming of being a cowboy and then driving longhorns down Main Street.
I have a couple of pictures on my phone I pull out from time to time just to look at him, and it's taken over my horse's head, and his ears are like this, you know.
Right.
And he's looking at those longhorns, and they're right there in front of him, so you get the sense of scale of those horns.
It was a lot of fun, and the amazing thing to me was streets lined with people. Every other person saying, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
Yeah.
So
we had a great reception from the community with that event.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about the National Cowboy Poetry Contest that we call Rodeo, because that's the way it's organized, man.
That's right. That's right.
So that comes up at Central Kansas Free Fair time.
August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Right during the fair, in existence with the fair. What a great venue. I couldn't think when we acquired the rights to do the National Cowboy Poetry Rodeo, what better place to do it than in your hometown, Queen of the Cowtowns, Abilene, Kansas.
Yeah, and what a venue inside Abilene that we're setting in today, so we better tell people how you got that done.
One of the oldest buildings in this part of Abilene, 1886.
1886.
The old Shockey and Landis Hardware, and friends of ours, John and Mary McDonald, who own Rawhide Portable Corral, restored this building.
What a gift back to the community the McDonalds have given us here. And I'd like to think we're doing our part by using it.
That's right. That's right.
If Don had to move that beer bucket over there, we could have filled it up and used it well.
The original Brunswick bar right there.
Something?
So
I've been in here a few times, always associated with the Cowboy Poetry Contest, and it's just fun to walk through the door. Your mind can allow itself to step back in time very easily right here.
Right.
Okay, National Cowboy Poetry Rodeo Contest organization, call it Rodeo. Why?
All the poets show up. The format is fairly simple. We have 5 judges, which, by the way,
I'm glad you have 5, because that leaves room for a lesser judge.
Yours truly is a judge, but each poet gets so many minutes on stage, and they're judged by the 5 judges. They throw out the high and the low, average the 3 center scores. I can't think of a more fair way to judge poetry than that. And then the first go round, everybody goes. Top 50% come back for the second day. And that's the cream of the crop. They do another go around, they're judged, they average the scores, and the winners are determined. You
know, I've had a chance to compete in the horse world quite a bit, and it always, the bigger the show, the better the judging.
Right.
But one of the reasons the better the judging at the bigger the show is multiple judges, because it covers an outlying opinion. And
you know, a lot of folks are of the opinion that poetry shouldn't be judged, but rodeo style, get up on stage, do your stuff, get judged, and winners get paid.
Well, a lot of people are of the opinion there shouldn't be winners, so we just have to deal with that.
That's right. That's
so,
right.
But having been a judge and gotten to see everybody that walked up there, gosh, what a benefit it is that there is a competition, because you can watch people up their game. So they get up and they may have a shaky in this division that they competed in. Next time they step up, they've made some corrections and are doing some things, and that makes progress happen.
You know, you're exactly right, Dennis. You talk about, you know, the way to step up your game is to go play with better people. And that's why I wanted this contest, because it changed my life. We went to it out in Utah, didn't do so well, made up my mind I was going to step my game up. I went back the next year and won, and it changed my life, and I feel like I owed it to the contest to keep it going. You
know, one of the reasons I'm enthusiastic about helping with this event, first of all, you guys are real nice people, but more than that, it's your contribution to the community that's leading the way here. So this event wouldn't be in Abilene had you and Don made that decision to lead and make sure that it lived, and you brought it to Abilene.
And what a great thing. It's been so much fun for us, and coming back to your hometown and carrying on this event.
So have you got that big bus full of calves still running around the country out there?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We do. So
yeah,
we're enjoying that too.
Yeah, that's good. So the private joke there is they showed up down at the last event. We had this giant bus, and I was pretty sure that they had about 3 or 4 bull calves back there that needed warmed up in it. So, but anyway, that's what cowboys do.
Yeah, it's 1972 Silver Eagle, classic. So
kind of like you and me.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Classics. So they quit making them about 1975, I'm pretty sure. Actually, and the world breathed a sigh of relief, and I'm not talking about the bus. So, all right, so a little more about what people are going to see here when we get them to come and walk.
Okay, well, you come to the Shockey and Landis building down here in Abilene, Kansas. You can watch cowboy poetry. Serious, humorous, some of the best entertainment you've seen, absolutely free to the public. You can come and go, enjoy the building, enjoy the contest, which is held upstairs, and just enjoy Abilene and the fair and the rodeo, and all in the same week.
So, you know, people are kind of used to hearing me talk about economic development. Well, and also I say economic development can be fun. Gosh, this is one of the funnest things in economic development that we have going on, and it's right in the middle of when a lot of people are coming to town. It's hot outside, it's cool in here.
Yeah. You know, the exciting thing is when we took this event over and moved it to Abilene, you know, we knew it was going to be a building thing, and now the word's getting out. Poets from around the country, which you know have been here from many different states, they go to other venues and they talk about Abilene, Kansas, the Shockey and Landis building. We have already 8 entries in this year's contest from people who have never been here before.
Really? Yeah. No kidding.
So we're excited.
That's exciting.
Yeah. The word's getting out.
So I saw an event at the Eisenhower Presidential Library Museum come out in their little notice this week, and it's a talk about women homesteaders. And I thought of this event, and you'll know why. The lady from Nebraska that came down last year,
Marcy Broyhill,
and did a fantastic job of doing her poetry from a completely, for us anyway, a new point of view, and that is the view from the woman's side of the life on the ranch, life on the prairie, life. I thought it was not only good poetry, but it was such a great commentary from a societal point of view.
Marcy Broyhill is who Dennis is talking about, is been a contestant at the rodeo several years, and talking about stepping up your game, coming back every time and being better than they were before.
The game was pretty good last year.
Yeah.
Hope she comes back.
I think everybody stepped up their game. And you know, we talked about this before, but our judge foreman, who is a champion poet, Jay Snyder, he said the same thing last year. We talked about it. It seems like everybody has stepped their game up.
Yeah,
so,
that's a sign of success.
Yes.
It really is. That means what you're doing is working.
Right.
You know, it's from a historical standpoint, we're setting in a historic building and we're filming this deliberately in this building to convey this message. The survival of culture, part of culture is cowboy poetry is a piece of culture not everybody's been exposed to. But you know, this spring, from those long days, long nights, those campfires, those long trails,
yep.
People are more familiar with some of the music that came out of that, but the cowboy poetry that came out of that, we see great examples when we come here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, John McDonald, John and Mary own this building, and they own Rawhide Portable Krills. They're a major sponsor. We've had kind of similar dreams, you know, of we left Abilene, but everybody wants to come back and give back to the cowboy way, which is what we've always dreamed of. And another feature this year at the fair and rodeo, Midnight Bender, 2016 Buck and Bull of the Year, owned by John and Mary McDonald, will be on display.
Oh, I didn't know that.
At the fairgrounds in a rawhide portable corral.
You think you should give him a ride just for your dad's sake?
I don't believe I will.
He's back there going, that's the best sense that boy's ever shown right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, we're talking about my dad. My mom and dad sitting back here. My dad just had his 85th birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
So, and anyway, yeah, we're just having a blast.
That's good. That's good. So what are some of the new things? We talked last year at the recap, you know, always try something new. Sometimes you can try a little, sometimes you can try a lot, but are we going to see anything new in the format?
Well, it's going to run basically the same way. We'll come in Thursday night.
Okay.
We'll have a little meet and greet right here in the main part of the Shockey and Landis.
I remember that being pretty fun last year.
Everybody loves the meet and greet. Then right up here in the balcony, if you kind of want to get rid of the jitters or do a last minute hone on some of your material, we have a little open mic. It's open for anybody, not just the contestants, but we have a blast Thursday night. Well, then Friday morning, as you know, being one of the judges, everybody gets in place, and we start Saturday morning or Friday morning and go through the first round of poetry.
It goes pretty much from?
It starts at 9 o'clock, and it usually takes up about 2/3 of the day.
Yeah.
And but people, like I said, it's free. People can come and go. It's in the air conditioning. They can enjoy the building. All the poets are judged. Cut the top 50%. Take them back the next day. Same time on Saturday. Also, right out here on the sidewalk, Saturday morning, another chuck wagon breakfast.
Oh boy, it rained us kind of out last year on the old chuck wagon, but we don't complain about rain around this part of the world.
And I have been assured by the chuck wagon cook, he was a little surprised about the amount of attendance last year. He's going to bring a little
bigger
more
pot of gravy,
a little bigger pot.
That's super.
And Rocky Sullivan's, who we're talking about, from New Mexico, and so he's coming to do the chuck wagon.
You know,
breakfast.
I have to say that's part of his gig in life, right?
Yeah.
So he goes places and does that, and that's part of his professionalism.
Yeah.
Well, Abilene gets the benefit of that sort of an event because of this contest.
Yeah. Rocky is a contestant in the contest, but is also bringing his talents as a chuck wagon cook and cooking a great breakfast for everybody.
So is it going to be your chuck wagon again this year?
Yes,
you
sir.
going to haul her up here and unload it?
Yep, right out here on the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's terrific. You haven't got about 6 wild horses we could hook to it?
I don't believe I want to do that in downtown, but anyway, it'll be fun. So.
Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to think of something that people out there that are just hearing about it for the first time would ask as a question, and so I think this is probably the easy one. So cowboy poetry, what's it sound like? That's a good question, and one we get quite often, you know, what is cowboy poetry? Mm-hmm. Well, cowboy poetry is a cowboy or cowgirl poem
set in rhyme and meter. Matter of fact, that's how they're judged. They're judged on stage presence, if their poetry has good content, if it has good rhyme and good meter. And it can be told in humorous fashion or serious fashion. We have both categories. You hear some of the greatest stories that you'll ever hear. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, setting as the MC, sometimes I have a hard time staying in my chair.
Yeah, I saw you get a little out of control last year during the humorous section.
It's some good stuff.
Yeah, what's it sound like in the humorous section? A little bit of rap crept into the cowboy poetry last year.
You're talking about Danny McCurry, you know, and some people wasn't sure about that. But you know,
they were all laughing at the end. Those
Danny
people
did that at the opening of the rodeo at the Wild Bill Hickok Rodeo, and you know, that got kids interested.
Yeah.
You know, what's this all about? We're trying to preserve history and the cowboy way of life. You're going to have to get the kids involved, and so I was tickled to death with that.
You know, last year some people who were here on behalf of Great Plains Theater and the community came in for a little while and got to hear a little bit, and that was all new to them, right?
Yeah.
So the good news of cowboy poetry made its way back to the coast.
Exactly.
Because we're here and we're doing this.
That's what it's all about, and we appreciate it. We thank you, Dennis, for all your great support and your ideas.
You bet. I tell you, I'm just full of it, as they say. So I tried to say this in a way that might generate a response, so it didn't work, so I'm going to try it again. So, you know, what would cowboy poetry sound like?
All right, now I am kind of slow, but I got hit on the head the second time, and I understand. Well, you know, for 14 years I worked on one of the largest cow-calf ranches in this part of Kansas. Mm-hmm. I'd come home and I'd tell my wife about my day or what a good cowboy I was. And I didn't always seem to
Not that she didn't already know.
Right.
But, you know.
And I didn't always seem to get my point across. So one day I decided I'd just prove to her how good a cowboy I am. I'd take her to work with me. This is a true story about that day I took Miss Dawn to work.
You want a shot of water?
I may.
Here, I'll reach it for you.
All right.
Man working that hard deserves a drink.
It's kind of warm in here.
It is. That's that new light we have.
So, during calving season at the ranch, my wife don't see me much. Working 14-hour days, 7 days a week, while we barely stay in touch. One Saturday, I was manning the ranch and going to be all by myself, so I asked my wife to come along for a little company and a little extra help. As we rode together, I explained to her the important things cowboys do. How you have to read cattle, be an expert horseman, and sometimes a veterinary too. As I bragged on myself and patted my own back, she spotted a heifer she thought looked funny. I said, "Don't worry, dear, let's leave her alone. I know what I'm doing, honey." As we finished our check and came back down the lane, why, that heifer was flat on her side. Well, now I made the decision myself. Let's take her in. I'll show you how easy she'll drive. Well, we got her moving like a Holstein cow, driving her clear through the gate, but once in the pen, her nice disposition very quickly turned into hate. She changed like Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and now was wanting to fight. And I told my wife, "Don't worry, dear, this causes me no fright." Well, she took a run at my wife's horse, barely inches away. From her nose, she was a-snuffing. I said, "Come on, honey, turn her around, and heck, that heifer's just a-bluffing. I guess I'll have to show you how it's done." And I pointed my horse that direction. But that mad heifer met me halfway. Like two knights in armor, in midair, we made full connection. Things got blurry from there. I don't remember a lot. As my horse scrambled back to his feet, my wife pinned the heifer, we pulled the calf, and my whole body now felt like bruised meat. Now the moral of this story became obvious to me as I was gimping back to my hoss, either bovine or human, leave it to a female to show me who's really the boss.
Now, I can swear that sounds like a true story.
That
right
was a
there.
true story. True story.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. You know, I expected the crowd to kind of go wild back there, but I think they think they're on TV. You know, the reality of it is we hear that from 9 till 4:30 on Friday,
right?
And they're all new, and they're all different, and they're all from different perspectives. You know, as I look at my little judges sheet here, I see this as a name, and you know, they introduce themselves, they tell you where they're from, so you think this Texas, Oklahoma, Utah, New York.
Right.
I'm thinking it's interesting to hear their lives through these poems they're telling.
I'm glad you hit on that, because one of the most interesting things to me, and you know, as you travel the country, that whether it's horsemanship or cowboying or rodeoing, everybody's got their own little ways of, you know, the Montana guys are a little different, you know, the Texas guys, the Kansas guys, and they bring that all here, and you get to hear that different kind of poetry and different points of view.
I appreciated the fact that there was a guy from Missouri last year that was, his whole poetry was about Missouri cowboys don't get much credit, and he tells the story. Well, if you've ever ridden a horse through that Missouri hill country, that cowboying work would be some real fun.
You're exactly right, and I've been to that part of the country where you're talking about Danny McCurry, and it's not the easiest country.
Yeah. So, you know, I did some time in upstate New York. My uncle's still there, 89 years old, still on the farm, still looks out the window every day and makes sure the cows are where they're supposed to be and that the boy's doing what he's supposed to be.
Right.
So, you know, but some of my best roping I ever did was in about a little 15-acre pasture. It was just thicker than, because you only had that clearing to get the job done. So cowboys are everywhere. We're going to bring a bunch of them to Abilene. You're going to bring a bunch of them to Abilene. I'm just helping with the camera here. And we're going to have a great time August 2, 3, and 4.
Yes, and it's going to be a blast. Come, it's free to the public. We have a little secret. I don't know if we can let it out of the bag just yet.
Go right ahead.
We normally do a matinee show at 4 o'clock on Saturday, which features all the top winners. And then maybe a music act or whatever. That is a ticketed show, but that this year is going to be at the Great Plains Theater.
That's terrific, and as soon as we get done filming here, we're going to go make sure we can.
Okay.
Because that's the way we roll, right?
That's right.
Okay, so you know, that's a wonderful opportunity. Jeff Dawson, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being a buddy.
Thank you.
And thanks for bringing a National Cowboy Poetry Rodeo to Abilene, Kansas.
You bet.
Folks, we're going to be looking for your face walking in that door, and you're going to have a great time. I'm Dennis Weiss. I work for Eagle Communications. Jeff Dawson, he rides horses and talks to himself during the middle of the day. Makes money doing it. You have a great day.